You guys have played DeMarco a bit more the last few weeks. What's gone into that from what you've seen that's kind of allowed him to either play in that free safety or really take some snaps from Richie?
Yeah, he's progressed. I mean, that's really the biggest thing. It's nothing about anybody else, and then he's just gotten better. And sometimes that happens. You know, it's a long season, and he's just continued to work, and him and some other guys, but his approach to the game every single day is the same, and you know exactly what you're getting from him. You know, he's a worker. He wants to know why we're doing certain things and where his alignments and so on and so forth. And he's just continued to work. He's played against our offense in the scout teams, and he's made some plays. And then all of a sudden, you put him in the game, makes a few plays. He had a really good preseason, so we kind of knew, we had something there. It's just him progressing as a player, throughout the season, and put him in a couple of games. And look, really, last game we had a lot of different guys out there. A lot of different guys played, and we always talk about it. Everybody's a starter. We always treat everybody the same. And when your number is called, you got to go out there and you got to make some plays. So it keeps the guys in the right frame of mind, and they see that other guys are playing, and so they continue to prepare and practice and ready themselves so that when their name is called, they're out there and they're performing and executing in the defense.
How do you balance giving up close to 450 yards but not giving up a touchdown? I mean, which is pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, as a defense coordinator, lay that down?
You never want to give up yards. We don't want to give up 1 yard. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the win. And, however we get it done, we got to get it done. That's the most important thing, and then scoring defense. So we can give up 1,000 yards and hold them to 9 points and win the game. We won. Now, we have things to correct. We know that. We've got to correct some certain things. There's some tackling. But at the end of the day, you win the game. We won the game. We played good situational football in the red zone. And then it's always easier after a win to correct and go back and look at those things and thought our guys and really focus on the positive, because you win 5 times in the red zone and have 2 takeaways. I mean, that's game-changing plays. And you look at, those guys that when we don't want them to get down there, but sometimes the ball gets down there, and been on some teams where the guys stopped fighting, where it changed with us and our guys went the other way, and they bowed up. They accepted the challenge. It wasn't like, hey, we let them down there. Okay, hey, let's let them score. It was, all right, they actually had a different demeanor once it got down there, and said, hey, we let them down there. They shouldn't got down here, and now we're going to stop them. And that was a positive, and so we can build on that. And now we just got to start it a lot sooner.
Coach, could you discuss what Jessie Bates has meant to the defense and his leadership and the big plays he made last week?
Yeah, we've been talking about Jessie all year. I mean, he's really, from the first day he got here, how he is in the building, how he is on the practice field. He's a coach on the field. He wants to know all the answers. He wants to get guys lined up. He wants to make, something's wrong. He wants to be the fixer, the eraser, things like that. The guy loves football. He is the same guy every single day he comes into the building, which you appreciate. There's no highs and lows. You know what you're going to get from Jessie. He's an extremely hard practicer. He works really hard. He's a lead by example, and I think that's one of the things that, he's not a very big vocal leader on the field in terms of the hollering, yelling, screaming, that type of deal. But what he does is how he goes about and he plays. He's in the right man. He flies over. He gets lined up. Things like that. And so he's more of a lead by example guy. But then you'll see him, and he's got a nice way how he handles it. Is if a guy makes a mistake, he'll kind of work his way over there and he'll correct the mistake. So where, hey, get to where you're supposed to be, and they'll come back and continue to play. So he's got a great feel for that. I love the guy. I appreciate every single day with him. He's absolutely fantastic to be around, and I look for just continuing to progress and work with him just to get better. Let's get better this next game than we did last game.
And just preparing for the Jets and their offensive weapons with the Boyle, the quarterback, and I guess we got Wilson and the running backs and the tight end Conklin.
Yeah, look,
Weapons,
everybody does, right? It's a different week, and again, give you guys the same answer. We're going to focus on ourselves. We're going to focus on our alignments, our assignments, and our technique. Now we have some certain things that we can take, a wide out in terms of a call. We can double a back. We can do some things call wise, but I think sometimes when you focus so much on the other team, you kind of lose focus on yourself and fundamentals and the other thing. Now, so what we do is it's about us, how we approach practice in the game and everything. But then, we learn our opponent. What's the type of offense that we're playing against and what type of routes that they run. But then you always got to bring it back to, well, if I play press and my technique's like this or I'm aligned here, these are the things that they're going to try to beat us on. But they do have some explosive weapons over there. We cannot let them get started. We got to start fast on defense, take the football away, and we have to be a good tackling defense this week and every week.
The last 4 games, obviously it was 440 or whatever it was last week. The last 4 games you guys have given up 350 or more, and then really before before Grady got hurt, you guys had only given up 350. I'm guessing that's probably too simplistic as to say Grady is the difference there, but why has there been that issue the last 4 games versus what was going on before?
Yeah, I think sometimes in the highs and lows of the season and teams have a little bit more tape on you. Feel like we've given up a few more explosive plays, in those games. I still do feel like the red zone defense have been pretty consistent throughout. And again, a testament to our players and our coaching staff. When they do get down there, our guys, they really do fight. But yeah, there's going to be some things that we've identified that have shown up again. Tackling, as part of that is we got to be able to be good space tacklers, things. And so look, everything, Mike, that you're talking about, we're addressing. Our guys know, during the bye week, the self-scout and things like that. One of the things was the red zone and takeaways and things. So we got to continue to do those things. But really, the third down, let's get off the field the first third down. Let's not wait for them to get 2 more first downs to get off the field. Those things like that. Where our guys are getting off the field, we're making the play, we're doing. Let's just do it a little bit sooner. And I can make a different call here and there too now. So I'm not. This is on me, and so we'll get it corrected. Know our guys are all in there, and but we are working on it, and we will get it fixed.
The move upstairs last week. Yeah.
That's news.
Yeah.
Wow, it must be slow news week.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I was up there before since I've been here. I think I spent half my pro career as a coach up in the box. So just logistically, just a different vantage point. So that was seamless in terms of being up there with the guys. Great group of guys up there that help with the logistics part of it, and no different than what I would do from a communication standpoint. And just it helps personally for me, just a different way to see the game. And again, the emotions are different when you're in the box compared to on the field. But yeah, seamless. Not really a big transition for me necessarily.
Was that your idea? Was that Art's idea? Was that?
Again, during that essentially bye week, right? Going to different things that we can do to help improve. And again, it's not something that's foreign to me to go up there. And we did it since I've been here with Art. So that was, of all the things that we were trying to, obviously get ourselves in a better position for this, final part of the regular season. That was probably lower on the thought process and just, hey, we'll go upstairs, you go upstairs, communicate, and let's roll. And that's all I thought of it.
You mentioned other things that you guys have kind of shifted and changed. You ran CP a lot more when Tyler Ragone have been healthy. What went into the decision to kind of maybe try a 3 running back approach versus what you guys?
Well, we also, it's a good question. We also had just a lot of attempts this past week, right, in terms of the rushes. And it was one of those where, again, as the game unfolded, different guys getting in the backfield and just different actions. felt comfortable with, again, like every week with those guys. And a credit to, again, a lot goes into different statistics and all that, but it was a great job all around in a game like that with not just the O-line, the running backs, quarterbacks getting the right check, but also the wideouts and tight ends. The way they were able to come off the ball, play with a certain level of physicality. And again, it was great for us to get that win.
How beneficial is it to have options like that at running back? To have not only two, but
Sure.
three?
Yeah, and again, you feel fortunate when in their different styles too, and they can do things out of the backfield, and so they provide different ways for us to try to attack a defense, and then different levels of experience. You look at a guy like CP who's kind of been able to do a lot of different things in this league. Bijan, who's obviously coming in as a rookie, and then you have, Algier, who again gives you that flexibility of he's one of the better tough yards falling forward of the backs that I've been around. But it was a great job all around. Great job by Keith, as the fullback, and then the offensive line, the way they came off the ball, as well as the receivers and tight ends, like I said.
Last year we talked a lot about, we had discussions about the pocket, managing the pocket as an NFL quarterback. How have you seen Dez grow in that respect? So I remember that
Sure.
first game he had against the Saints. He was kind of
Right.
bumping into offensive linemen, and now he obviously had a couple keys.
Yeah, I think that was to that point, right? Being able to identify the right opportunities to exhaust your progression and take off and let's roll. And I think again, the more you do something, the more you can train and practice that we can put you in those situations. Trust your training and then go out there and execute and rely on your instincts. I think that's the most important thing. The different quarterbacks I've been around, the minute they start to get in the robotic side of overthinking or, hey, I got to be perfect, that usually the following outcomes aren't great. The guys who don't overthink it, don't press, trust what they see, trust their abilities, typically can extend plays and usually make good things happen, regardless if that good thing is pushing up in the pocket and throwing it away, or pushing in the pocket and getting 3 yards, or taking off and getting 20. Like, those are relative varies of success, but those, right, don't cause negative plays. And the more you can stay out of that at the quarterback spot, you typically have better results.
In terms of how you guys are using pits and how you guys have used pits, where is that now versus maybe it was last year and 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, there's a different spectrum, right? And where Kyle came into this league, different quarterbacks that he's been with. Unfortunately last year with the injury. And so for us with Kyle, what I appreciate about all our players, and specifically asking about Kyle, is how they go out and consume the plan mentally and then their preparation on the field. To me, right, Kyle had a couple of chances in the past game where he made really tough catches. And that's the one thing that I do love about our guys. Kyle is one of those guys that they can make contested catches. Like, has to be perfectly clean, wide open, and their ability to take that ball in a contested, congested area and make that catch, and pretty seamlessly, is a huge credit, not just to him, but the other guys in the skill positions that do that for us. No different than what he was able to do for us in 2 critical catches in the last game, where they were tougher balls to catch, goes down, gets them, protects the football. We appreciate that about him.
Where you guys line him up and how you guys kind of deploy him in that aspect. Seems like it's kind of gone back and forth a few times.
Yeah, depending on plans, right?
Third to this year.
Sure, depending on who we're playing, right? That factors in. They have a say in terms of how they structure their defense, where we think we can gain the most advantage, not just for him, but the other players that are involved. And then how we want to deploy and attack that defensive scheme to make sure our players are feeling comfortable and we're giving them the best chance to do that. And so for Kyle, regardless of what spot you're technically lining him up in, regardless if it's pre-snap or when we motion or post-snap, just making sure that, like any of our players, though, right, he has the best chance to be successful. Doesn't mean the ball always goes there. The coverage might dictate something different, but we're trying to achieve that pre-snap for not just him, but for everyone.
Why do you think maybe the production hasn't been there when you look at least the numbers, whether it's yards per game, targets, receptions?
Yeah, I think part of that, right, is again, you give credit where credit's due at times, where the defense has done a decent job of trying to take away some of the aspects of some of the things. But also, there's been games, like for instance, the last game, right? I don't have the exact stat off the top of my head, but we're at 60-some plays and there were 40-some rushes. I think we attempted 21 passes attempted. When you look at that, sure, there's going to be limited opportunities in the pass game because that game, right, the way that it unfolded dictated that. There's other games this year where those have been either balanced out or we've been more on the pass side. So from a target standpoint, sure, more shots on target in terms of attempts, right? More guys have those attempts going their way. Sometimes the game goes the other way. Sometimes there's calls, right? Within games, for instance, there's a couple plays in this past game where, yes, you're targeting somebody, something breaks down, and the quarterback decides to do something different, even though the play technically starts with a target to somebody. And those are things you have to factor in. And I think at times like that, right, those are, as you're reevaluating, as you do after every game, right, and you go into the next game, you're always taking that approach, okay? How can we do this different? How can we do this better? And every game's different, though. That is the one thing. I know it's kind of cliche-ish, but that is real. Every game, you're presented a whole new challenge defensively, and you have to figure out ways to attack it and make adjustments as you're doing that as the game unfolds. And so that's the constant back and forth. Boy, that didn't answer your question. Eli, what do you have next?
The Jets' run defense, the numbers look, pretty bad, 140, 31st in the league, but have they been in situations where things just got sideways?
I would say this. I've known Robert a long time. He was part of the staff when I was a player in Houston. What they do defensively, again, numbers are, when you just put the film on, just watch the tape. Like I know you guys, right, profession. But for us, we watch the tape, man, we see a quick, sound, fast, violent, like, it's good, right? And again, what they go out and try to accomplish each game is to cause issues. And they try to do it in a way that, when you put in the film, it's consistent. That's what you appreciate so much about what they do defensively is every single snap. There's not a playoff, right? So, again, a ton of respect for what he's been able to do in terms of his philosophy defensively, going out there and putting his, essentially his fingerprints on this. And we got a challenge. There is no doubt about it. Like I said, each week provides. That's what you love about this coaching profession at this level is each week you put the film on and you're like, all right, what's this challenge going to be? You have to bring it. You have to bring it each week. And it is no different going up to New York in December against a defense that this as talented as the one that is playing that we're going to play on Sunday.
Everybody knows about Quinnen from the SEC, but what about these edge rushers, Hub, Jefferson, and Johnson? How difficult are they?
Yeah, and they provide each a different issue in terms of how they rush the passer. But ultimately, right, they all get to the same spot, which is they try to get to the quarterback. Their pressure numbers in a four-man rush is as good as anybody in the National Football League. So they don't have to, and they do a good job when they bring others, but they don't have to. They just rush the floor. They do a great job of mixing up the front in terms of the stunts, and they provide issues in terms of how you're passing off your different protections. But yes, when you talk about the edge guys compared to the inside guys, here's what you can say. When you stop the film at the top of the quarterback drop, they're all trying to meet him there.
Gus has talked a lot about playing without fear, without hesitancy, and second guessing and that type of stuff. From a coaching perspective, how do you help him navigate through that, especially with critical errors?
Sure. I think it's a constant conversation of what he is reaffirming to himself. Trust your instincts, trust your eyes. Regardless of what level. I've got a 14-year-old and a 6-year-old who play sports. It's no different conversation that I would have with them. The minute that you all of a sudden try, like I said before, right, you try to overthink in literally within 3 seconds of your decision, you play slower, you don't trust, and I think you become robotic. And that's not what got anybody at this level. What got guys at this level drafted or not drafted or however they got here was their ability to rely on their instincts, trust what they see, and react. The minute you lose that reaction, or you start to second guess that reaction, you're slower. And it's way too fast out there. It's just, that people talk about the speed of the game. Sure, the speed of the game to me is this. The guys that you're playing against are faster because they're anticipating that much better because they digest what they see and they just go. It's not guys running 4.140s. That's not what this, why this game is so much faster at the NFL level is, again, this is all we do. There's no school involved. There's no nothing. They just go play ball. They consume film. They understand tendencies. They trust what they see, and they go. And it's no different on the offensive side of the ball. You second guess what you're seeing and you're hesitant at all, you're slower with your decisions. Regardless if you're playing quarterback, you're a wideout, or you're a running back, or you're making a call up front. So at the quarterback spot, again, I would tell any quarterback / or athlete, when you rely on your instincts and you trust what you see and you react in those things, more times than not, you get the outcome you want. When you start to second guess all those things, right, then you go down a spiral of, well, I should have done this. You don't have time for that. Right? You don't have time for that, and therefore, right, then it's hard to be productive. How's that ding-dong doing? Protecting it? That's sweet tea? Is that sweet tea or just normal tea?
No, that's normal.
You don't do,
You can do.
Dila, you a sweet tea guy?
Yeah. Very much.
Here, we're in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Man, my kids came from Chicago. Not a great, I wouldn't say great sweet tea area, right? They have it.
You have to ask for it.
That's right. That's what my kids had to adjust to.
Yeah.
Down here, though,
Tea is just-
there's no doubt. Like, if they don't have the sweetener, they're like, whoa,
Right.
why is there no sweetener?
Well, no, but that's where my issue was like, it's northern part.
Yeah.
I don't want that. That's the first time I ordered, they put that thing, I'm like, I spit it out.
No, you didn't like it.
Oh, God, no.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Like, I don't need the sugar.
So you get the unsweet tea.
I
then
just
you-
want my water dirty, okay? I just want dirty water.
All right.
That's what it is.
That's fair.
I need the sugar.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
I would rather have my sugar.
How dare them put sugar in your tea, but go ahead and load it up on the ding dong.
Well, yeah, because I'd rather
Fair.
have the pastry than the tea.
That's right. Let's enlighten now about that conversation.
Yes, very much so.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, one more thing.
What we got?
Desmond explained running last week. He was like, hey, they turned their back, so we had some running lanes. And he said the running near the red zone was kind of set up, by the, how you get down there and so forth. But just looking back over the games, look like when he runs, you all win.
I mean, and sometimes, right, it could be as simple as that, right?
Right.
Oh, sometimes we overcomplicate it. Like, oh, you got all these things, and you think about all these things, but again, I would say, okay, when a quarterback runs for positive yardage, right, what is he relying on? His instincts, right? And so if you're relying on your instincts and you're getting positive results from it, typically you stay in a pretty good flow. And the most important thing, right, you're moving the ball forward. That, let's just no different than you're coaching a bunch of 6 or 7 year olds and you're playing football for the first time. You just want to move the ball, right? You keep moving the ball, then you get the ball in the end zone, right? That's the end game. But you want to keep the ball moving forward. So if that's the way a certain play, right, breaks down, or it's not there and he takes off and he gets his pot of yards, I mean, again, that's all part of the playing the position. And to me, right, that's the growth of it. You start to feel those lanes, right? Now, a defense now has to account for who? Now they have to play the quarterback differently. They may have to play a different type of zone, or they have to get a wrap player who has to now watch them. And now that's getting them to make an adjustment. And again, you look at the quarterback play, the really good ones, the defense is adjusting to them. And that's what you want, regardless of how you're moving the ball. If you're running it, you're throwing it, or all those things, you want the defense to have to make the adjustments to you, than the vice versa.
Do you feel like you guys are maybe overcomplicating things pre-buy a little bit? Or is that part of all of this now that we can also see the game?
I don't know if I would term it that way. I think when you go through and you're looking at your players, okay, and each week, like I said, you're going into a situation where you're like, all right, how are we going to attack this defense? What are we going to do to give our players the best chance and make sure they're comfortable in what we're asking? Sometimes, right, what you have in vision works better than others. It doesn't mean it was a bad thought or you're trying to do too much. Sometimes the defense has that say, and they took it away. And no, I think the with the bye week provided for me, I can't speak for anybody else, right? You get a chance to take a deep breath and just watch yourself without the focus, all right, of trying to prepare for the next game plan. You just can sit back, look, and say, okay, if you're watching us and you're a defense now, okay, what are you seeing here? And just you get to put a different lens on what you're watching about yourself, without the, hey, get ready for Wednesday's practice or Thursday's practice. No, let's watch it. Let's see what we're doing. Let's see, like, again, what fundamental things can we help each of our position guys with now that we're essentially closer to the midway or a little past it. And then it's a good refresh. If anything else, it gets you, I think, a focus of clarity of like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how teams may see us. Okay, how do we need to play or adjust? And again, that's, at least for myself, right, what the bye presented for me.
Well, I'll start it off. Good team win last week. Excited for our guys, for the opportunity to go out there, play at home once again versus a divisional opponent. I thought Bradley played really well, did a good job flipping the field, understanding the kick plan and being able to execute that, and being able to put our defense in a position where we had 2 punts where we covered, and the Saints started inside the 20-yard line. Obviously, that kick at the end was big. It put us up 2 scores. So I give credit to the protection units on field goal protection, Bradley, Liam, and then Koo putting it through the uprights. So we look forward to this opportunity this week versus the Jets. Brent Boyer, the coordinator there, does a great job on special teams. He's been there for a while. Was a former player that played in the NFL and was a special teams player. I admire how he coaches those guys. Those guys play hard. They have a lot of good core players. You talk about Sherwood, Davis, the returner Gibson, who had a touchdown week 1 versus Buffalo to beat them in overtime. And then obviously Thomas Morstead is their punter, and he does a great job. I think he's one of the best directional punters in the NFL, and it's going to be a big challenge for us this week to be able to try to flip the field, create and control field position. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Yeah, Coach, was last week just the situations where you needed the high punts, or was that a switch to help the coverage units out?
No,
Got some good playing time on his punts.
You know, we use various punts, but it's all about execution and consistency. That's what we look for in our punt coverage units. Number one, it starts with our operation in and out the huddle. It starts with our snap from Liam, protection with our interior, our gunners winning downfield and releasing, and obviously after we do a great job of protecting, it's up to Bradley to put the ball where we want it, where we have it desired, whether we're directional punting, if we want more hang time, we want more balls to the sideline, lower hang time. He has a bunch of different club selections, D-Led, when it comes to that. So I wouldn't say it was more hang time. We just did an overall better job of, one, getting the ball where we want it to be, and then our coverage matching that. Because you could have great coverage, and then you could have a punter that could cover up with the coverage with a great directional punt or putting the ball near the sideline. Or you could have a decent or a average to below average punt, and you have great coverage. But when you have, ideally you want both, but if you have a minus in both those, sometimes that leads to negative plays as a unit. So those are things that we're always working on to be consistent with when it comes to punt and coverage working together, or on kickoff, kick and coverage working together.
How is that stadium weather-wise? I remember the old one used to get a swirl over in.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all get there early to kind of check the flags or in high and low and what the wind situation might be like?
Yes, sir. So we always work to get there early to the stadium, especially when we're playing outdoors, just to get an understanding and a feel for the stadium, the lighting, the wind, how the wind blows in the stadium, the precipitation, if there's anything, the weather, how cold, how warm, how humid it is. All those things play a factor into how we want to go into the game, our lines for our field goals, where do we think our punts will be, when we're punting, when we're going one way towards the end zone, ideally which way we want to punt, going that way towards one end zone, going towards another end zone. Hey, where's our line? With the winds blowing this way, our line's at this yard line. That means where we want to kick field goals at, which changes our approach to if we want to go for it on 4th down or if we want to punt on 4th down, and vice versa going the other way. So all those things plays a factor in what we do week in and week out. And even if we're playing in a dome, we still get there early because the surface the grass or the turf is even different. So getting a feel for the turf. So those are things that we have conversations with the specialist, myself, and our head coach going into a game. The more prepared we are, the more organized we are, the better we could go into the game plan and we could think clearly when it comes to making decisions, and it goes to Coach Smith making his decisions on fourth down plays or even third down plays, going to fourth down plays.
I remember, I think it was a couple years ago, maybe it was last year, I don't know, I'll flat circle a little bit, that we were talking about when you think there might be inclement weather, you like will either put the ball in fake snow or dip the ball in water. Like, I mean, are you guys doing that this week because it's like 70% chance of precipitation and it could be cold, or are you messing with that or no?
I love that you said fake snow. I don't know where I'm going to get that from, like Lake Lanier, Margaritaville, like where they have the sleds at.
Slushies, man. Just get on the slushies.
Go to 7-Eleven, get some Slurpees, huh? Those are things that we always prepare for. It's my job and our job as coaches to prepare our players for any situation before it presents itself. You'd rather be prepared without the opportunity than unprepared with the opportunity. So those are things that we work throughout the week, because we can't control the precipitation, we can't control the weather, but we can control our preparation, our attitude, and the way we go about those things. So those are things that we work on throughout the week. So when we get into those situations, our guys are being able to think clear and being able to execute and focus on their fundamentals and their assignments, to be able to put the ball through the uprights, punt the ball directionally, footing for our players, wearing the right gear when they're out there on the field, whether it's gloves, cleats, sleeves, no sleeves, whatever the case may be. Those guys are prepared, and they're going out there and they're focused on their execution, their fundamentals, and winning their one-on-one battles.
CP, I think he's on pace for probably a career low, it seems like, in kick returns. Is that a difference in strategy for you guys this year? Is that something that's changed because of the new rules? Like, why is that?
I mean, there's a combination of things. I wouldn't say, I don't look at like, hey, this is going to be his fewest number of returns this year. He's a home run hitter when it comes to kickoff returns. And if you're a home run hitter, you're not trying to swing at every single pitch and return balls 9 deep in the end zone. Because, yeah, he could have like a 30-yard return, but what's our field position for our offense when it goes to starting off at P and 10, the opening drive? So it's a combination of, the rule changes things. The kickers, they understand, hey, we got to hit this ball deep. Try to put stress on CP to see if he'll take it out deep. There's certain situations we will take it out deep. There's certain situations where, based on the clock, based on how the offense is playing, how their defense is playing, there's a lot of different variables that come into it. I will say that CP is making great decisions back there, and he's not trying to press the envelope and trying to force plays. He's letting the game come to him, and there's an opportunity to be made. We're going to take advantage of those opportunities. And as the season goes on, there's going to be more. We still have guaranteed 6 games where we could still be a factor in that part of the game, and CP's not stressing and not panicking and not trying to force the issue. I will say this, I give great compliment to CP last week because there was a ball that was mishit and it took a funny bounce to him. Those are the type of plays where you might end up as an offense starting inside the 10-yard line. He did a great job having urgency to the ball, catching it off the hop, and we got the ball past the 25. In our eyes, that's a win because the touchback's at the 25. So those things, playing situational ball, being smart, having a quarterback mindset as a returner, he's doing that, and his plays will come. It's just continue to stay patient and be deliberate with his details and his urgency as a returner.
I mean, with all that said, throughout his entire, the first 10 years of his career here, he's largely been, if the ball's not kicked out of the end zone, taking it out. More often than not, it seems like. I'm just wondering if that was a conscious conversation y'all had in the offseason. In Atlanta, he's also taken less out every year, it seems like, as it's gone on. So I don't know if that's like a wear and tear. Well, I guess why that would be.
I wouldn't say wear and tear. Those are conversations that myself, CP, and Coach Smith have each and every week. We don't want to just sit back and try to return every single punt, return every single kickoff. That's not, we're playing the game smart, and we're trying to play complementary for our offense and defense. Because let's say we return stuff 9 deep all the time. Now our offense starts in bad field position. If the offense starts in bad field position, that changes the play calling for Coach Smith. Now we get in a situation to now we have to punt, and now we punt, and now they catch the ball, let's say at the minus 45. They gain 2 first downs, they're in field goal range. So now we just, in a way, we affected our offense and our defense and our punt return. So those things come into play. People look at special teams, they look at it's a 1 play down, and you're like, okay, CP took it out and he got 30 yards. But if we took it from 9 deep and we got the ball to, like, let's say, I don't know, the minus 22. I'm just saying a number. Or minus 20. We got the ball to the minus 20. Or minus 15. That's not good field position. And yeah, it might not hurt us right then and there, but down the road it'll hurt our defense, which will hurt the game because a lot of these games are one-score games. 2/3 of the NFL's one-score games. So I wouldn't say wear and tear. I wouldn't say anything. CP is being smart and he's doing certain things right. If you watch our film, we're not taking the ball out 9 deep. Unless it's a guy to have a situation, we're not doing that. We're being smart because our blocks are correlated to where CP catches the ball. If the pitch is not right, the kick's not right, and it's in correlation to the call that we have as a return team, why try to return it? Let's say we want to run the ball up the near sideline to the right, and they kick the ball all the way to the left, and it's outside the numbers and it's in the end zone. If CP catches that ball 2 yards deep in the end zone, tries to bring it back all the way to the field, it's not going to be a good play. So he's being smart when it comes to that. And he's not – I don't see him – there's certain situations, yeah, we want to take it out 9 deep, but that's not what we're doing here unless it's a discussion between myself, whatever. And it may change. It may depend on the coverage unit. It may depend on if we're going against a good defense. There's a lot of different variables when it comes to that.
I mean, like you said, you guys plan for certain things. Some of that luck of, hey, you know what? You had plan X and they kicked it opposite, so it becomes a non-issue. Like, is that some of it too, where it's just kind of like
We have
random, not random, but like you planned for X and they ended up because they just happened to kick it Y.
Yeah, we have our guys do a great job of understanding the plan when we're going to a game, where we have a good idea where the kicker is about to hit it. Does it happen all the time? No, kickers miss-hit it. So we're being smart. We have certain yard lines that we line up at. There's certain times where, he has the green light. There's certain times where we have a hard line, like, hey, there's 10 seconds left, or like there's 25 seconds left. Let's take a touchback because we need the time on the clock. There's a lot of different variables, and CP does an amazing job, along with all of our returners, understanding all those different variables and making the right decision back there for our team. And he continues to do that, and just like last year, he made right decisions, and then when he did take it out, he was able to make teams pay. And you look at the Chicago game, he did a great job catching the ball forward. We had certain guidelines. He did a great job getting vertical with the football and coming alive with it, and it ended up putting our team in a position to help us win that game.
But hey, how's the week been preparing here for the Jets and so forth after y'all got the big win last week?
Yeah, it's been a big, I would say, sense of urgency to kind of see, where we are right now. We had a win against the Bucs, and then, next thing you know, we lose 3. So we've been a part of that, and now we want to learn from that and continue to build off this one, which was a big one for us, and just continue to stack those until, we'll get another opportunity in the division again. To win in those playoffs games, you got to play your best ball right now, and that's what we want to do.
I know you guys were pleased with how you played on Sunday, but how do you, as a veteran especially, kind of help lead the group to put that behind you and obviously, full focus on a Jets team that is struggling at this point?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing was, go and watch the film and, correct the things that were wrong. We played really good ball, but there still was a lot of things that you could fix and, learn from and build from. And I think that's what we're doing right now. It's a lot of guys get happy around this time. You get a win, and it's just like take a deep breath, take a seat back. But I think our philosophy has been just get better, and that's what good teams do around this time, and that's what we're doing.
When you're facing a team that's kind of juggling the quarterback situation like this, is it one where you kind of have to prepare yourself for more kind of like run fits and a more physical style game?
Yeah, you got to kind of alert all the bull stuff that comes with it. Some trick plays, some screens, some boots, just simple stuff that that everybody runs. But you got to have your eyes up and making sure you're prepared for all the bull stuff as well. Like I said, so we've had our faults with the first-time quarterbacks or whatever it was, but it really just comes down to us and being aligned and assigned right. And after that, it's just about beating the guy across from you. So, yeah.
And my cleats, my cause, you have JB3 Fund. What's JB3 Fund and what do they do? And
Yeah. So the main thing is just always trying to support single moms. This year I'll be able to partner up with Solomon's Temple, which is here local in Atlanta downtown. They provide, housing and living. Just being able to partner up with them for the holidays and provide Christmas for the temple, and then do a catering, and then offer them to come to the game as well. So, just the importance really is just supporting single moms and supporting organizations that support those moms. So, very excited, very blessed to be able to be a blessing in the community.
You kind of mentioned briefly that you faced some weird quarterback situations so far this year. Does that kind of sharpen you for this? The fact that it's not been necessarily just like a pushover when you've had some of these kind of quarterbacks?
Yeah, like you said, you learn as the season goes. That it's it's just normal football. If we just do our job, I think you look back at those couple games that we got beat in. And it was just we gave up explosive plays. We weren't disciplined in our rush lane. So yeah, you definitely learn from those when you get beat like that. But like you said, you learn from them and you move on and use that as to get better as a defense.
Yeah, and Jesse, Coach Ryan talked about, said, hey, your style is not, a yeller and a screamer, a more lead by example style. How'd you develop that?
Yeah, it's just really, throughout my career, learning from guys who have done it for a long time. This isn't the first person to lead by example, so just really taking notes and just learning from the good and the bad of what that looks like, and not always just being a leader by example, challenging myself to kind of be a little bit more vocal and step out of my comfort zone to better the team. So.
And you said, hey, you'll fix stuff, but you won't, you'll go over and say, hey, fix this, get here, line up. What's your teaching method in that regard to, when, you see people that might like, hey, go, might use another approach?
Yeah, I think, the approach is, when somebody messes up, I think the best way to learn from it is to kind of go talk to them, just straight up talk to them and ask what they were kind of seeing. It's football, it's different perspectives. People see stuff through different lenses, and just go up there and ask questions. And then also, hey, it should look like this. It should be like this. We should communicate like this. So, I try not to overstep, but that's what leaders do, and that's what you need to do on good teams.
And now on the last one here for me, on the interception, when did you know you were in the clear?
I think as soon as I caught it, and I didn't fall. A lot of my interceptions I've been catching, I've just been falling. I think once I caught it and I put my foot in the ground, I'm fast enough to kind of run away from people. So that was a good feeling for sure.
I wanted to ask you about that too. Could you hear? I know you talk to athletes a lot. A lot of them say you don't really hear much. It was so loud when you were running that back. Could you feel that while you were in that?
Honestly, it was just running. Don't get caught. You don't really think about. The noise. I think you almost go deaf as you're out there playing and you're in the mix. But yeah, once it all calmed down, we had to hit our celebration. So we'll look forward to keep doing that.
What about the peace sign about the 5 minutes?
Yeah. See, it's just dumb stuff like that you do. When you get tired, and you might get fined and just all that kind of stuff. So. I got to do better next time.
Okay, Bud.
I don't think I will.
Bud said you forgot about the bomb.
Yeah, I know Bud had to come and help me out. Like, hey, we orchestrated the bomb. So I was like, everybody do the bomb. So I throw the bomb up in the air and everybody kind of fall and sink. So it was really, really good to see.
Couple before when people joke with me that the reason you did it was be a Snyder one.
Yeah. I mean,
was that clearly your motivation?
No, not so much, but it definitely gave me a little bit juice watching them on Friday night when they won the state title.
You actually did watch on Friday night?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Wait, how often do you watch their games?
I mean, it's pretty. Everything's televised and stuff now. Everybody records it, so they were able. My best friend is a coach there as well right now, so. I get all the links and stuff like that from him. So, yeah.